All right, Kim, you have the honor of, out of all of our Rolling with Roland interviews, this is the first one we actually have shot in studio.
Oh, get out of here.
We normally are on the road in LA, Atlanta, New York. We've never done one actually in the Black Star Network studio.
All right, well, I feel special.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So glad to have you here. So it's 2003, it's 2002, it's probably 2003. What was it? Was it Sweet Georgia Brown? It was a restaurant in Detroit. I forgot the brother, the restaurant.
Sweet Georgia Brown's may have been it, yeah.
So I'm sitting in the restaurant and
Levan
Hawkins. Music comes on.
Yeah.
And I had heard the song two or three times earlier. So I'm sitting in the jam. I was like, yo, who is that? And one of the brothers like, oh, that's a brother named Kim, man. He used to sell his stuff right here out on the street. And he said, yeah, but Motown just signed him. And I was like, really? I said, man, I love that jam. And so it happened a couple more times, and they were just telling me, they were like, oh yeah, man, brother was selling out of backpacks, out the back of the trunk. And I was like, seriously? Like, oh yeah, he used to be homeless, and oh man, he about to blow up.
Yeah.
And here you are sitting right here, right now.
And here we are today, right? That's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, I'm feeling that jam.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, man. And so take me back, man, just that moment, you just trying to make it happen and just peddling your stuff, and I need some people to hear my stuff and get my break.
Yeah, and I talk about that, and I talk about that in my book. I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. You know, when I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You know, you record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, you know, to the record labels, or maybe a friend of a friend knows somebody that works for, you know, the record label. And really, chemistry that was my last ditch effort at being in the music business.
How long have you been trying?
I've been trying since I was a teenager.
Wow.
You know? And you know, and I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, you know, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry.
But you're sitting here and you're sending stuff and you're sending in it.
Yeah.
And were you hearing nothing, or were you hearing, nah, bro, this ain't it?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't hearing, there was, you know, we weren't hearing anything. I think a mutual friend, actually, you know what, a mutual friend of, you know, Vivian Chu.
Yes.
Right? So Vivian Chu actually worked she worked for Polygram. She was representing RJ's latest arrival, who was also out of Detroit, and I had a cameo appearance on one of their albums. So they were working in the studio next to us, and I was 19. I was 18, 19 years old, and she came to look at the, you know, she was there with them, and she came, and you know, we were, you know, making a presentation to her for her to sign, you know, to get us signed, but I wasn't ready. You know, we were a mess. So I had been trying all those years. So chemistry, it was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this out myself. I mean, it's a broader story than that, but it was like, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this myself. You know, I'm going to do this myself.
So once, and I always tell people all the time, making the CD, writing the book is one thing.
Yeah.
Selling it is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And so you said, I'm just going to sell it one by one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what were you doing? Just going around different places and...
Well, actually, chemistry, I recorded Chemistry live in Detroit before I went and took it into a studio. I recorded it live, and I didn't like the recording. And so we never put it out. But it got out, right? So people were...
How'd that happen?
Because people were I recorded it live, and, you know, somebody had a copy of the CD, and they made a copy. That was when, you just just burn it and, like, give somebody a copy of the CD.
Yo, check this out.
So the record, even though I didn't like the recording, and I didn't, you know, sanction it being released, it got out, and people were vibing to it, right? And I was doing local shows, you know, in Detroit, this particular club, Half Past 3, one night, and like nobody, you know, I didn't know that people were actually listening to the music, but you know, I was always in this club like performing my original songs, and one night I started performing like Miss You, and when I hit the chords, before I sang, the audience knew the words, right? Because this music had been circulating. But I still wasn't satisfied with the recording. So with that information, I took a business line of credit from that I had manipulated out of American Express. Hopefully that's not illegal.
No, remember, Robert Townsend shot his movie with credit cards.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they didn't know what I was gonna do with it. But
Amex, you might have a new brand ambassador.
You know what I'm saying? There you go. Holla at your boy, right? Don't leave home without it. I got you. And I recorded the Chemistry CD and went to a studio, recorded it as proper as I knew how to make a record, and the rest is history. So yeah, I was selling them. There was already, so by me getting the response from the audience that night, I knew that there was somebody out there to sell a record to.
The reason I think that's so awesome is because the audience always speaks.
The audience always speaks.
You did not like it. They were like, bruh, we good with all that. It's so it's so like there were all those Prince songs he had in his, that he never released, that Warner Brothers later released, I think called the B-side. Yeah. And like, I love his song, It's About That Walk. And he never liked, his whole deal is, I don't want those songs released. And I'm like, that's banging. So the audience is like, look, man, we ain't into all the pure stuff. Right. We vibing with this. Right. That's why I think that's an awesome story, because the public spoke.
The people know, and that's the model. You know, I think that's a model for any business. That's a lesson in entrepreneurship, right? It's like, if you take it to the people. If the people dig you, industry will follow.
Don't matter. And see, this is pre-social media. Right. So literally that burning and passing around is how we, cassette tapes and all this sort of stuff like that. That is what happened. So now, you got folks who I don't need a record deal. They're on Vimeo, they're on YouTube, they're on the platforms, not even needing that, because they're like, I don't need your validation. At the end of the day, the record label is sort of like the same thing with the TV game. Mm-hmm. You're waiting for somebody to say, yes, it's now okay. Yeah. And your audience was like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Now roll with it.
Yep. So we've been, 8 months after we released it on my own label, Chemistry Records, I was sitting down with Kadar Massenberg over at Motown, and the rest is history, as it were.
So when you're sitting there, and you've been sitting there trying for 15 years, did you sit here and go, okay, this thing is actually happening? Yeah. So you sign, but sign don't mean you about to blow. There's a whole bunch of people who got signed who didn't do anything. Right. That's when the real work began.
That's when the real work. I mean, but Roland, it was good. It was good before I got signed. Right. I mean, the record label is able to take the project somewhere else and move it, and you have the infrastructure for radio and all of that. We were on the radio, but we didn't have the infrastructure to be nationwide. But dude, I sold 17,000 CDs on my own at $10 a pop. Not by myself. I had a great team. My manager then, Toya Hankins, was a great, Toya, she was a great partner, a great collaborator. But 10 times 17,000 is $170,000. So it was okay.
You ain't got to explain to me.
Right, I was going to
published 5 books.
Right.
So it's like, people like, man, you published the book. I was like, this is the 3rd printing. We moved 15,000. 15,000 times $12.95.
So we were, if I had never signed, we were in a pretty good place, just on the audience in Detroit, some in DC, some in Chicago. But the label allowed me to the territory to
build, grow, expand. Absolutely.
Yeah. So and to your point, yes, it was a very transformative, experience. When I signed my deal, I was scared to death.
The thing why I think it was, again, as somebody who was sitting in this restaurant going, yo, man, that is, because it was just, what are the ears here? Yeah. The reason I thought it was so perfect because chemistry hit for me at the right time because of what was not in the marketplace.
Right.
And it was just totally different. It wasn't people early on were like, oh, this is like Al Jarreau. It wasn't old school jazz. It wasn't smooth jazz. It wasn't contemporary R&B. It literally was. It was to me a throwback to the balladeers, the Billy Ecksteins of the world. And at that moment in music, there was nobody who was really in that space doing it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And, and we really, made an art out of walking the line between jazz and R&B. And I'm grateful to Al Jarreau. Al helped us sell a lot of records in the beginning because people thought it was him.
Yeah.
And so he helped with my discovery, so to speak. And, and I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, we all go through so many different things, and in your shows now, there's always a moment in your show, Charlie Wilson does the exact same thing. Yeah. Where no matter where you're performing, no matter who's there, you are going to take folk to church. Yeah. And you really make it clear to people what you've endured, what you have been through, and you want every single one of those audiences to know and understand that you're just not seeing a dude up here on stage and it all happened and everything was perfect. Right.
And, and I've been doing that since the beginning. And actually, the seeds and the foundation for the work that I'm doing today was really founded upon the idea that I could use this platform, as really if I could be so bold to say it's like a secular ministry, right? Yeah. It's like I'm a secular artist, and I look at what I do as ministry. The music that you all hear comes from the culmination of all of these things that I talk about in the book.
Look, somebody came to me one day and they said, "Oh man, you really need to be preaching." I said, "No, that's never gonna happen." They were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, one day I was actually in prayer, and God said, I got enough people preaching. In 5 minutes of radio, you are speaking to more people than some preachers will preach to in an entire year. I need you exactly where you are." And that's really it. You don't know who is showing up at your show. You don't know who is sitting there, what they're going through, what they've gone through, what they're dealing with at that very moment. And so there were more people who were at your show at Constitution Hall or those 3 shows than at most churches in a weekend. So you can actually touch folk in a way other people cannot. That is using your gifts for his glory.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's exactly the way that I see it, and grateful that I have an opportunity to be used in this way. Have you had folks in the past who were like, "Yo, Kim, say, bro, we don't need the God stuff in the show"? Yeah, I mean, all the time. There's been pushback, from a small segment of the community, a small segment. Hey man, they calling right now. Professional. No, that's right. Look, when the wife calls, Mom and when the wife calls, you know. Wait a minute. The phone is on silent except when Mama calls. Oh, there you go. I got you. That's the one you got to take. Yeah, when Mama calls, it's like okay, or like real Mama, who's going through some health issues, but it's all good. So we talk about as a small cadre of folk. Yeah, we came to hear, we want to hear love calls. We didn't come to hear you talk. We didn't come to hear you preach, and that's okay. I feel like, I've been doing this for 2 decades, so ain't nobody pulled the rug up from under us yet, so I guess I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. See, that reminds me of so Tyler Perry had a development deal with ABC, and so some executives sent a few notes. Hey, there's too many Jesuses, being mentioned. Can we pull back on the Jesus and the God references? Right. And he's like, okay. How about there not be a show? Right. And literally bounced. And he was like, if someone tells me I can't say God or Jesus,
I cannot be in business with
Right, right,
and
right.
walked away from the deal.
Yeah, and that was one of my party lines. It's like, dude, you say that I'm messing up the show doing that. I'm like, dude, there would be no show
Right.
without, my faith is that's why we're sitting here right now, is because of that. It's the most important thing about me, and so I have no shame in sharing, particularly now in these days that we're living in, where we've got, I don't know, and just in this year alone, you probably know the answer, 119, 190, mass shootings,
Yeah.
or whatever that
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
that number is.
Yeah, we're approaching 200.
One is too many.
We're approaching
right?
200.
But I mean, it's over, and coming through the pandemic, which I believe was just a test drive, it's just all this stuff going on. So, I have to stay grounded in my faith, and I want to infect people with that, so they have something to hold on to, something to hold on to as we're going through these vicissitudes of life, as a people and as a nation, and as fathers and mothers and parents, and so it's like, I think that's the most important work that we can do.
Well, it's also, I think it's also important for the public to understand that when you see someone where they are today, that's not, as Paul Harvey would say, there is the rest of the story.
Yeah,
I use the example all the time. People love to talk about Bishop T.D. Jakes today.
Yeah.
But nobody want to talk about when he was digging ditches.
Yeah.
When family was on food stamps. No one wants to talk about that bishop, preaching in suits that where the lining had come out and all of that. Folk don't want to deal with that, and I think people have to be reminded that was a journey getting here, and that journey was not easy.
Right.
It wasn't all about packed audiences, sold out concerts, fine tailored suits. No, it was some stuff that a brother went through.
Yeah, for sure. And I talk about that in Share My Life, my memoir, about how, we're coming through the darkness of my life. And that's part of the story.
Right. And
part of the reason why we share the story is so that whoever's going through right now, it's like, yeah, you're going through right now.
Right.
But this is not, what you see as your failure is not final. This is not not the end of the story.
Right.
And all of those things work together, for me, all of those things work together. They inform the art. They inform, the man that you see today. They inform the father that I am, the husband that I am today. So I don't have any regrets about my darkness.
Again, you talk about addiction, drug addiction. You talk about being homeless. When you were enduring, when you were just in the depths of despair, how did you still say this singing thing can still happen?
Music for me at that time was purely. I mean, there was a time when, I was adolescent, and I was in a band, and I was working with my friends, and we were writing songs, and we're fantasizing about being in the music business. And then as I shifted into active addiction and homelessness, and was out on the streets and separated from my community of folks, I was separated from them. And music became, the idea of having a career in the industry was a light at the end of the tunnel, but music was also extremely therapeutic. A lot of the songs that came, that were on the Chemistry album, those chord progressions, those were formed in the rescue mission in Detroit, the Salvation Army, so I was always creating, I was always, musing over melodies and so
even in that, it's playing in your head. And because for others, many others, they would give up on those dreams. They would just go, look, they literally would succumb to whatever they were going through, and would say, oh, that stuff will never happen.
Yeah. July 23rd of 1990 was the day that I had my last drink, drug, and I was sitting outside on the Detroit riverbank, looking at the Ambassador Bridge this way, the Detroit Renaissance Center the other way. You've been there, you know, and wondering what happened to my life, you know, and I gave up on, that was the night of my surrender, and I gave up on my idea. I gave up on the idea that I could solve, that my problems could be solved with the same thinking that brought those problems into existence in the first place. So
you're sitting there.
Yeah. Trying to nurse a can of King Cobra, I'm sure you don't know anything about King Cobra.
I'm familiar. I've seen the commercials. as someone who's never drank in my life, yes, I'm familiar with. Plus being an alpha, the colors are black and gold.
Yeah, there you go.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. So you're sitting there.
Yeah.
And what did it just? Was it a voice? Did it just hit you, or?
I was just tired. I was tired, which didn't mean that like I got up the next. Which didn't mean that like that was the night of my last drink. But it didn't mean that I had a plan or I knew what to do. In fact, it was the exact opposite. I didn't know what to do, and that's.
But you knew I can't pick that up.
I came to a place where I could no longer see living with drugs and alcohol or living without them. What am I going to do about that? I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. Right? So when I could admit that I didn't know what to do about that. But I don't know what to do about that when I keep repeating the dude. There's an ad when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I don't know what to do about that. And God is like, "Are you done?" So you're done now,
right? And then literally, like
the heavens are around the conference table, like he's done.
Like, you done?
I think he's done.
Are you done? Like, can I do this now?
Right. You know.
You finished doing it?
Exactly.
It's sort of like when you go through divorce.
Yeah.
I remember. I stopped praying because I was married previously for 6 years. I stopped praying for God to save the marriage. And I said, God, just open my eyes to see, ears to hear.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
Because we really think we can fix it.
Yeah.
We really think that we are in such control that we can think our way through it, we can figure it out, when in reality, we need to have that source to call upon and literally surrender.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is the remedy, you know, for much of what ails us as individuals and as a community, as a nation, you know, when we live in a culture that talks about, you know, never give up and never surrender, and we won't quit and we'll never, it's just like, no, but there are times when, like, you need to stop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There are times when you need to say, you know what, maybe I don't need to be in charge.
Well, it's like when you said you were tired.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have gotten to the point of, like, I've pushed myself to exhaustion 3 times.
Yeah.
And literally, it will knock you on your ass and go, you done now?
Right.
And you literally, you can't do anything. You're just, and that is surrender.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is.
Absolutely.
So you're physically tired. You were like, I'm tired of living like this.
Yeah.
This ain't it.
Yeah.
It's got to be something else.
Got to be a better way to live.
So when July 24th hits, and then 25th and 26th, what are you seeing and experiencing? And did it provide clarity to go, oh, and did things begin to form and fall in place? Did you begin to see differently?
Well, no, the healing doesn't take place overnight,
Right.
You know, and I remember hearing that when I first went into recovery. Like, it took you however long it took you to get to this place, and it's going to take you some time to unwind, you know, this ball of twisted yarn that you've, you know, been working on for all of these years. So it took time. It wasn't overnight. I stopped the physical act of putting I stopped the physical act of self-medicating. Right? I stopped that. I didn't take a drink and I didn't, you know, smoke any weed or do any drugs, but the mindset to take that out a day at a time, you know, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, to where now I sit with 30 years, with over, you know, 32, coming up, I guess, on 33 years of sobriety. You know, that mindset, that's something that has to be cultivated and and maintained, you know. It's an ongoing effort of surrender and release and taking, you know, inventory and being honest with yourself and honest with other people and trying to help other people and carrying the message. I mean, it's an ongoing effort. Yeah.
Uncle Charlie has talked about how for him, when he went through the exact same situation, where he made clear from this point on what can't be around him, what can't be near him, and he makes it clear to everybody in his circle, this is how it has to be, or you can't be on my team.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah. Not so much. I think you get to carve out and work out how your recovery needs, how you need to structure it for you. We all have different needs, you know, and we all have a different way of approaching it. The people who are around me are aware of my situation, but I don't force we're not doing any, you know, I'm not policing I'm not mad at smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I could smoke weed, I'd be smoking with you, right? But I can't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's a choice that I've made for myself. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't insert myself into places where, you know, cats are just blatantly, you know, using drugs and drinking alcohol, but I can walk into a restaurant. In fact, when I got sober, I was bartending. I mean, I was serving drinks. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's, you know, I mean, but everybody who's in my position is not in a
absolutely
can do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I keep thinking that scene out of the movie Flight with Denzel.
right, Flight, and that's perfect. You're right. Right.
When that door was open, that refrigerator, he heard that refrigerator and was like, and then next thing we know, it was all
It was all over. It
Yeah.
was all over. I surround myself with good people, and you know, and I do the things that are necessary to maintain my recovery every day. You know, it's on me. It ain't on y'all.
Yeah. See, that part right there, when you say surrounding myself with good people, I don't think people really understand how crucial that is.
Yeah.
And not just when it comes to trying to maintain sobriety. I think it's also important when you're trying to go somewhere and you're trying to build something, and the people who literally are in your circle, who are around you, they have to mean something. And like there are people who I've had in my past. I'm kind of like, nah, they can't be with me.
Yeah.
They can't. I don't want their spirit around me. I don't
Yeah.
want, and they can be mad talented.
Yeah.
But no, it's
But
something.
Nick, once you turn the corner on once you become intentional and purposeful about what it is you're trying to do and where you're trying to go, like a lot of them people just fall off.
Oh yeah.
They just fall off. I mean, you don't even have to write. You're not even a write that mindset is not even around.
When I ran the Dallas Weekly, Jim Washington was a publisher. It was so funny. Jim said, he said, Mr. Martin, why is it certain people in this building start trembling when you walk in? I was like, that's what happened when light rolls in with darkness.
Right.
He started laughing, and it was literally, and I said, Jim, these people gotta go. I said, and I can't coexist with them, and they cannot coexist with me.
Right.
And you're right. When you start, and you look, I absolutely believe in spiritual connection. I absolutely believe in discernment. But I tell folk, I said, hey, if you pick up on that and it sends a signal, I don't need you around me. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. And people who, you know, and if you're not interested in getting high, people who are, if you stop getting high, the people who like to get high with you don't even want to be bothered with you anymore. Right? We're not doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We're not even in the same place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you signed with Motown and you begin just the grind and the build and going. I think about, so I'm so mad too because I had my backpack stolen here in DC and a hard drive with a bunch of the video was on. You were on the Joyner Cruise.
Yeah.
And I think back early on, so I'm looking at the concerts now, and I'm seeing you moving, how you going, and I never forget, you were on stage at the piano. You
Never move.
You didn't move. You stayed right.
No, and I couldn't move, right? Because those songs, and that speaks to the heart of, you know, the way that I write and the way that I've made music, the way that I make music, is that it's all me and the keyboard. So there was no other keyboard. If I got up, there was nobody who was playing, right? And you know, juxtapose that to today, where it's like this iteration of my performance, dude, I'm not sitting down at all.
Yeah.
I mean, not sitting down and playing at all. You know, it's kind of nuts.
No, I mean, remember, I mean, we were on a cruise, and I'm on like this side, and I can see myself shooting video. I always got a camera or something. I'm shooting video, and I was sitting there, and I was like, he ain't left that piano one time. He like he's sitting right there. But then also I started counting band members. I was like, well, hell, ain't nobody else there to play.
You can't get up. You know, I'm holding it down. You know, yeah.
Absolutely.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
When you talk about Blackness and what happens in Black culture, covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. As you've built, as you've gone from one album to the next, as you have performed and performing with others, how has that growth been for you to keep evolving and keep redefining who you are? Obviously, look, being in the pocket, this is my style, this is my music, but understanding one has to still maintain relevancy over a 20-year period.
For sure, yeah. And I think that, and for a while, they're probably up until, our last, major run prior to the pandemic where we were out on the road with Charlie Wilson. It was me, Charlie Wilson, and Joe. Mm-hmm. And, I kind of felt like I was getting complacent. I felt like we had oversaturated the market, and I took myself out of the marketplace for a while. And I realized that a lot of my career and a lot of the work I had taken for granted. I mean, the music is all, we ain't never had a problem making great music. We make great music. Right. But all the stuff that goes, around with it, goes along with it about maintaining, relevancy. Like I was still making good music, but it was like, what is the next iteration? Yeah. Of Kim? We've been playing the same songs the same way for the last, the last decade and a half. It's like, what else? I started to feel like is this all that there is?
And if you wanted to, you could just stay right there.
And we could have stayed there and done show, and it could have just been like that, and we, what you're going to get when you come to a Kim show and it's like, right. But how do I want to continue to get better.
Because I remember I was in Houston. I left the Breakfast Club. I remember I FaceTimed you. And I was like, yo, man, when the new stuff coming out? Yeah. You were like, we working on it.
Yeah.
And we working on it. I think when Maxwell stepped away, it was like for 8 years.
Yeah.
And he was like, I need to step away.
Yeah.
To come out with something I need to go through some stuff, go through some life experiences that will then help me create what it is I want to do next.
Yeah, yeah. So we went a long way towards, collaborating with some folks. And everything always starts with the Kim song. It's like it starts with me. I think that has really been key. It's been instrumental to longevity, is that, I came in not sounding like anybody else. I should continue to not sound like anybody else. Right. You know what I'm saying? But there were places where I saw that, we could do a remix, with Wiz Khalifa, on a song that was already a number one for 7 or 8 weeks ahead of me, right?
Kim and Snoop Dogg?
Yep, Kim and Snoop downtown. We got Rick Ross on the record. There were collaborations that made sense. Revamping the show. Revamping the way that I present myself on stage and working behind the scenes with choreographers and the visual. All of that. So to maintain relevancy and still be to be at the top of my game. I don't want to do this if I'm not at the top of my game. I don't want to do this if I'm not continuing to grow, if I'm not continuing to, to evolve. Then there's no point in doing that.
What do you make of, because I've seen you open, I've seen you close.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of folk who they trip when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And I've seen some artists, no, I absolutely have to close.
Yeah.
Lionel Richie told me when B.B. King passed away, I interviewed Lionel Richie and he said they were like here in D.C. and it was B.B. King, the Commodores, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Commodores, Earth, Wind, and Fire were banging out hits. And they were arguing about who was going to close.
Yeah.
So who was going to go first and second. And B.B. was like, hey, guys, listen. I checked, it's an early flight that gets me back to Memphis. So why not go ahead and go out, do my thing, and then y'all can figure it out. So they were like, all right, bet. He said BB rolls out there with his little amp and just destroys the stage.
Right.
He said, then there was argument, who the hell gonna have to follow him?
Right.
He said, because then it was like, I ain't trying to go behind that.
Right.
And he said, BB's whole deal was, it don't matter when I go on that stage.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I do and I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah, and I pretty much feel the same way. I feel I want to be able to hold my own behind or before anybody. I will say though that I don't like when there are rare occasions where they want to, like we did Tom Joyner with Earth, Wind, and Fire, one year, and we performed for 2 nights. So the first night it was me before them, and the second night it was them before me, and I headlined. And I'm like, dude, I don't like, and I give my charge to my team. It's like I don't like going on behind a legacy artist, just respectfully. Not because I'm not gonna kill Earth, Wind, and Fire. One, I don't want to go on behind Earth, Wind, and Fire anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But just out of respect, it's like, dude, let them, But the business side of it is you're also looking at Polestar, you're looking at who's gonna, the headliners, who's gonna make those numbers, what is, and you want your numbers to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. But actually, dude, if you're gonna pay me the same money and I go on first and perform for less time and I can go home and I can go back to the hotel before they stop serving chicken wings and room service, sign me up for that one,
That was a comedian. He said the same thing. He was like, listen, it's 5 people on the bill. We all getting 20 minutes. I don't care what my 20 is.
Yeah.
He said the 20-minute money gonna be the same. He said, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it don't matter.
Right. Yeah, I would concur with that. Yeah.
I love to ask this question to artists because as somebody who reads history and who's read so many different books, I love reading Dream Boogie about Sam Cooke, how when they had the Soul Stirrers and they would tour these other gospel acts and they would go at it. They'd be like, yo, we gonna kill y'all tonight. Yeah. And how just that fierce competition just really just drove them. And then Motown, you could have a #1 hit, but last night's show,
yeah,
sorry Marvin, Smoke and the Miracles killed it.
Yeah.
So they closed it and not you. And so Bear Gordy said he used to drive Marvin Gaye crazy when he was like, yo, I got #1 song. And like, last night, they destroyed you in this city, so they closed in the next city.
Right.
Is there an artist that it's not? I don't see this competition, but that if you on the same bill with them, that they would really absolutely bring out the best in you because of just who they are.
No, I always bring the best of myself to every performance.
Oh, I got that.
Right. So when I get on stage, dude, I'm not comparing myself. I don't compare myself to anybody. The only person I'm comparing myself to is to what I did the night before.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't trip on that because everybody gets a turn. Everybody gets a turn to have a bad night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody gets a turn. So it's like I don't even play that game with myself.
All right. So if that was a versus, who does Kim want to be in the versus with?
That's not even up to me to decide.
No, but
I'm not scared of nobody.
No, but I'm saying it's like, okay. So Usher said the killer verses would be him and Chris Brown.
Yeah.
I asked Wayne Brady. Wayne Brady said, "Oh, absolutely. I would love to be me and Jamie Foxx doing what we do."
Yeah. Yeah.
He said it'd be awesome for the audience. So who would it be? Kim and who? That would be just amazing for the audience to witness.
Yeah.
Because when Earth, Wind and Fire, the Isley Brothers did it, that was just the stories and the song was amazing.
Yeah. I don't.
So who Kim wants to sit across with?
I don't.
You get to pick.
No, I don't have a name to put in that hat. It don't matter to me.
But there's somebody okay, all right. Is there somebody who you greatly respect who you like to do it with? I'll ask it that way.
No, there's not a name that I would put in that hat. What do you think? So you the instigator, be trying to.
No, it's not.
This the guy to be on the playground trying to get people to fight. Ooh, he said your mama.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Look, like it's like
Kim said.
I've been asked the question who I would love if I'm debating on television. Who would I love to go?
Who would you love to?
I've said it before. The person who is a trip conservative SC Cup. She's an atheist.
Yeah.
But got a degree in religion, which I still think is hilarious. And so, because we've been on before, and she's gonna bring it, and it's not going to be easy to defeat. So I love what she brings.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I said that would be it.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think who, if there was you know what?
And if you think of it, then you call me and let me know.
Eric Benet.
Okay.
I think again.
That's interesting. I haven't heard that.
I've listened to. I got all your music.
Yeah.
I got nearly all his music.
Yeah.
And I look at styles. I look at just how people operate. I think for the audience that will be a really interesting.
That is interesting.
And
I love Eric's stuff, man. I love him, and yeah, that would be dope. I have a lot of respect for Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because right now, as I said earlier, in this space that we're in, how radio is, and totally drives me crazy. Just the limited space for certain type of artists.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is if it's hip hop, if it's pop, and if you grown, other than smooth jazz station or something like that, it's just a very difficult space.
Right.
Which like Gerald Albright, Good Alpha brother, we were talking and how he's done. He's like, so he's taking over his own label, controlling his own music, doing his own thing, because he didn't want to get having somebody else sort of be in control and being at the mercy of what all you hear on typically what's on radio.
Yeah.
And I think I also think that's why social is so great now, because there's no barrier now between you and your fan base.
Right.
And so you can keep doing you, and your fans are still going to be there.
Right.
And you're not dependent upon that other machine out there to have to drive who hears your stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Like we can go. We have your fan base. My people have access to me directly. Through social media, and that's a wonderful thing to be able to share with them and give them, a peek behind the curtain of my personal and professional life has really been one of the blessings of social media.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
You mentioned some collaborations you've done. Who would you love to do something with?
Sade. Don't you know her? Don't you know somebody that know her?
And see, that's the one person I see. Normally this part of the interview, I can pick the phone up and literally call that person direct.
Somebody got to know somebody.
Bruh, when I interviewed Frankie Beverly, Frankie said they were that he was his was Sade.
Yeah.
And he said they were that close.
That's funny.
To consummating a tour with Sade.
Well, I need to call Frankie then.
And he said it never happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That would be the move. There've been several folk, her name comes up. She's so elusive that would be a tour. Yeah, Murder, She Wrote.
That would be
This is Murder, She Wrote.
that would be a collaboration.
Yeah, or just a record. We don't have to tour. I'd love to tour.
But why? What is it about?
It's just a record, huh?
What is it about?
What is it about?
What is it about her that you named her?
I think that, that particularly with my earlier stuff and like with really what my vibe is that, if I there's a part of me is that feels like the male counterpart musically, to Sade. It's like that vibe. It's that music that you put on and you ride to it, or you clean the house to it, or you make love to it, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And your kids can listen to it.
Yep.
Your kids are vibing with it, just classic, elegant, top shelf, well-written, poignant lyrics, it's complex. The music is complex, but it's simple.
Right, complex. Yep.
It's simple. You know what I mean? It's not a whole lot of stuff. Everything in the music, everything in the show, it means something. Yeah.
See, I love how Sade can come out and then disappear.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, and it's not like, oh, well, we forgot about her. When she comes back, oh my God, Sade's back. And she comes back and disappears.
And comes back as herself.
Yeah.
Just comes back, it's beautiful.
Nothing extra, look don't change, not coming out,
Yeah.
clothes in the hair. It's like, okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I do.
Yeah. So put that word out. Come on, girl.
Yeah, that's right. Look, hold on. Look, which camera?
What
One
camera
right
was
here?
that?
Is this one right here?
Come on, girl.
Look right to that camera right there.
Sade, we looking for you, girl. Come on, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Holla at your boy. Let's do one. I got one for you now. Look. Yeah.
Oh, you got something you already
Yeah, we got
holding your pocket.
I got him. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put the word out. I don't know who. I'm gonna find somebody.
Yeah.
Cause if I don't know her, I know somebody who know her. I don't know. That could be Lionel Richie.
Right.
It could be
6 degrees of
yeah.
separation. Right?
I can get to. If I can't get to him, I'm gonna get to him through one person. So I'm gonna have to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Figure that one out. You from Detroit. Crowds are always so different. But what's one city, not hometown, that they just different when you perform.
Actually, Detroit is the hardest place to play because it's home. It's the hardest place to play, because I know like you know your audience, but like I literally like I know the audience.
Right.
Right. They know me. So a lot of those people know, the offstage Kim, behind the scenes Kim, know where the bodies are buried. They know they've seen it before. Mother Mama's gonna get her tickets and her friends and her brood, right? So it's easy to take it for granted, or you know what I mean. You want it to be
right.
To give them more because they've been with me for since the beginning. But DC is also wonderful. DC is wonderful, man. We spent 3 days here. Michelle Obama was at the show last night. DC, my first shows outside of Detroit. The first one outside of Detroit was in Chicago for Jesse Jackson, Rainbow Push. Mm-hmm. But the other one, we were coming here, Club Zanzibar, Warner Theater. We played there with Floetry. I remember that like yesterday. Lots of nights at Constitution Hall, and now we do National Harbor, MGM over there, so DC, the DMV, the DMV is the place to be. Yeah.
So it was in Detroit. Oh, I forgot when it was. I forgot what I was even there for. And you gonna call me up and ask me to sing.
And it was probably they did that.
It was NABJ. It was NABJ. Our commission was there. And I was like, Kim, they pay me to talk. They don't pay me to sing. You like, man, get on off this thing. I was like, hey, look, I sang with the choir at church when I was growing up, but that ain't what I do.
Yeah.
That ain't what I was like, no, they pay me to talk.
Yeah.
Like, you give me the microphone, I'd knock a speech out. That ain't the problem.
Yeah.
Just tell me how much time I got.
And we appreciate you for that. And I thank you for always, over the years, man, just really, being so gracious to me, man, and taking time and supporting the music and hitting me up every once in a while when you're out and about in the streets and you FaceTime me real quick and say hello and drop in. It means more than and I appreciate you.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
This book, I ask every author this. Doesn't matter. A wow moment. A wow moment. A moment when they were writing it, they were researching that even they went, wow, I forgot about that, or, man, that was crazy. What was your wow moment putting this book together?
I had the perfect collaborator in David Ritz, who's written.
I'm literally reading the first. I'm literally reading his Aretha Franklin book.
Yeah. He was like the perfect collaborator for this because his sensibilities to music.
Because he did Ray Charles,
Marvin Gaye.
Very good friends with Billy Preston.
Yeah, Lenny Kravitz.
Of course, while you're talking, I'm laughing because when his Aretha book came out, Tom Joyner had him on the show.
Yeah.
My phone rings. Roland, this is Aretha. You got Tom's phone number? You got Steve Harvey's and Yolanda Adams' phone number.
Yeah.
I don't want him on anybody's show.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm trying, like, I know all these people, but But he is the queen. Call it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
But he's. I mean, he's done a lot of amazing books on Black artists.
Yeah, he's for me he was the perfect collaborator, and so the wow moments for me, I mean, this is the narrative of my life, so
Right.
there's nothing in the book that surprised me that was
Right.
coming from me.
Right.
But what did surprise me was in his research for the book, he interviewed my mother. And my mother told him things that I had no idea. So they were like there's a lot of stuff that's not in the book, right? And my mother told him things that like I was just blown away.
You didn't know he was going to interview your mama?
Huh?
Did you know he was going to interview?
Oh yeah,
your mother?
I knew he was.
But you didn't realize what she was going to say.
I didn't realize and it wasn't a question of, it wasn't a question of, and I talk about this in the book about in the African American culture, and I know it's not exclusive to us because they got a song called, we don't talk about Bruno, right? But there's so much secrecy. And there's so many things that go unspoken.
Yep.
And there's so much that is kept from the children in our homes when we're growing up. This is grown folks' business. We don't talk about that. But somebody needs to find a way to communicate and explain why certain things are happening, in the home. And we think that dysfunction in our household starts in our household, and it doesn't. It was in their household, and it was in the household before mama's, and it was right. So all this generational stuff. And so she brought a lot of these things to the table that she wasn't deliberately concealing from everyone. It was just like we just never talked about it.
Right.
And I'm looking at her, at her manuscript. I'm like, dude, this is. And this is not even for me I can't even say a lot of the things that she talked about, and
you're like, Mama, that's a whole separate book.
Right. That ain't even right. And it's not mine to tell, right? That's yours to tell, right?
Kim's mama with David Ritz.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But it was truly a transformative, very transformative experience for all of us. Yeah. In ways that I'm sure we haven't even. We've just beginning to scratch the surface on.
You talk about being married and the two of you having 6 kids. So with that,
Yeah.
how has that caused you to look at communicating and with them differently, raising them differently?
And it's really shown me how much more room there is for me to learn how to communicate effectively. It's just, I with my kids, with my wife, with myself, what is this? Because a lot of times we're on automatic pilot with the way that we deal with people and deal with, in relationships. And it's like now in this season of my life, it's like learning to be more intentional, and more thoughtful and less. And with my kids, it's like, and now it's really less about me and more about not even the legacy. Everybody said, well, I'm leaving a legacy with my kids. It's like, forget all of that. I just want y'all to be able to navigate the world.
Right.
I want you to be able to navigate the world. I want you to be able to have, emotional intelligence and understand. Yeah. So all of that, all of that is on the table. Yeah, and what I'm looking to get better at.
What is it that you really want to do that you have not done? You've done the Chris. First of all, the Christmas album. All y'all watch. I'm telling y'all. I told y'all I listen to music. No, it's not the traditional Christmas album.
No,
and I play it all the time. I play it actually. Non-Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it's a really great Christmas album that is just not your typical stuff, especially that freak song you and Lettucey did.
That's what you say. It's a freak song. That's funny. We were promoting the Christmas album in a church somewhere in Texas. They wouldn't let us sing it. They wouldn't let me sing it.
See?
It ain't a freak song, right?
And you were like, oh man, tell me. Jesus is the reason for the seasons on the Christmas album. They like,
Jesus.
Yeah, they like, yeah, but Joseph didn't get with Mary, so you ain't singing that song.
Right. The Christmas album is one of my favorites too. It's one of my favorites too. What would I like to do that I haven't done yet? I think that there's a Grammy out there with my name on it somewhere. we're looking for that.
Nominated before?
I've been nominated. Yeah.
How many times? You won a Grammy?
4 times.
Wow.
4 times.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there's a feature film out there with my name on it.
Now you've been in, but small, because you were in Sparkle, correct?
I was in Sparkle. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you want you want like a meaty role? You want a lead role?
Yeah. I want a lead role.
You talk to anybody about it?
Yeah, we work. We got some. I'm having some very interesting conversations.
All right. I mean, I know people.
Yeah, I know. We can talk off.
I'm just checking.
I don't want to let it out the bag, but yeah, I
can make a call
about some things. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Producers, directors, who you want?
Yeah. And I need to write a Law and Order jingle. That's the one that really, I need one of them.
That joint been around for a while.
I need one of them. Right. Right. That walk to the mailbox money. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I need some more of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next?
What's next is taking some time to sit back and reflect. This is a monumental year, 20 years being, in the record industry, the live album. We're out here.
How long did it take you to do this?
Promoting the book. The book has been in the works for years. Yeah, I mean, prior to the
Were you just jotting stuff down?
Yeah, I started out with one author, and then changed gears and reconnected with David, who I met really early in my career, and we were able to really flush it out. So there's the book, and then I'll take some time down and start working on the next studio album. Come off the road for a while and make y'all miss me. Make y'all miss me and come out with some new music and get some of these other projects and ideas, off the ground. And I feel like it's 20 years in the game, and I feel like I'm just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the best I've ever been. Internally and professionally and personally, with all of its stuff. This is the best that I've ever been, and I'm really excited about the future.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million at a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? I asked this of all songwriters. John Legend says for him, he treats songwriting like it's work, where he goes to the studio, it's his briefcase, goes in, it's 9 to 5. Will Downing said, what hits me, inspires me. He was like, I interviewed once, he said, man, I had wonderful sex with this woman, and I got up and wrote a song. I was like, I bet she was pissed off you just got out of bed. So everybody has their different style.
Yeah.
What is your songwriting style?
It has to be a season of, like, I know I'm about to go into a season of writing. And that's where I'm going through all of these sketches of songs and my.
So it's not like it's
in my phone.
You hear something.
Oh, I saw a woman I saw, this elderly couple on a bus, and they were sharing an apple and having a conversation, and he let her, he helped her up from her seat and helped her get off. Like, no, that never happens. right.
Because there's some cats I've interviewed. They were like,
absolutely. They said, right.
They'll be in the middle of a conversation and go, hold up, and just start writing stuff down.
Yeah, that never happens for me. No. I have to be intentional and purposeful about, not about necessarily writing, but about showing up to write, and go downstairs into my room and really just, noodle around and revisit ideas, and then flush out what the next album is going to be.
So how's that? Are you just literally writing?
It's the music first. It's the music. It's everything is. And then that's this is how this makes me feel. All my songs are about how this makes me feel. That's where the music is where it starts from. And actually, when I started writing, it was like people would send me music and I would write lyrics to. I'm inspired by the music. Yeah, I'm inspired by the music.
So whatever that beat, that melody, whatever that is, that then.
If it captures me, I can put something to it. Yeah.
And then that's one song, and then you build upon that.
Usually it's the hook. It's the hook first. I'll have the hook. I'll know what the hook is. I'll have the hook, and then I'll build around the hook. I don't even know what the song, what it is, what shape it's going to take until it's done.
It's interesting you say that, because I don't write speeches.
Yeah.
And literally, if I'm speaking to a group, I don't even care what I don't even look at their theme. I look at the group, I look at who I'm speaking to, and I'll come up with, because I've read newspapers, I'll come up with the headline. So basically the name of the speech. Mm-hmm. And I'll come up with the name of the speech, and I'll literally start, I don't write anything down. Mm-hmm. I just, once I have that, everything else just flows.
Right.
Doesn't even matter what, and it's interesting because I've always said, first of all, writing is like music, it's rhythm. Like you read a great book, like you're reading it and you're just breezing through it. It's like listening to a great song. Mm-hmm. Listening to a horrible song is like reading a horrible book. I'm serious, like you can read a book and you like, and see, for me, when I start a book, I have to finish it.
Yeah.
So it's painful as hell when it's an awful book.
Right.
I have to actually finish what I started.
Right.
But it's interesting because that's how it is. People ask me, well, how can you speak for 20 minutes or an hour, hour and a half? And it literally just starts with I come up with the title, and everything else flows from it.
Yeah, start with the hook and work backwards. Yeah.
And are you physically writing, or are you talking to a recorder?
I am talking into I'm talking into a recorder. But when I'm done, I write it all down.
Got it.
And by hand. I write it down by hand, and I'll eventually type it into the thing. But I write it. I like to write on a legal pad and write it and see it, and turn the pages and all that stuff.
What was the absolute easiest song that flowed out of you?
The easiest would have been. The easiest would have been a song called "Pray for Me," and Randy Bolin, my guitarist, we'll be in the studio and lots, and it's nice when that happens. We'll be in the studio and he'll start playing. I'm like, "What is that?" And he'll say nothing. I'll say, "Play that. Keep playing that," and then we can flush that out pretty.
That sounds like Aretha. She was the Shoal Creek band. It was like, hold up, do that again.
Right.
It just came together.
It turns into a whole thing.
What was, out of all your songs that people will know, it was the hardest to finish and to complete.
The hardest to finish would have been Can You Feel It? Can You Feel It from Intimate? I think that's the Intimacy album.
Why? It just...
I sang it for a long, I was singing it for a long, I was just trying to, that whole album, the Intimacy album was a very, I called in, it was the first album where I called in a producer, Rex Rideout. That's the one with Share My Life on and all of that. Because I bought a Steinway piano and it changed the way that I wrote songs. I was usually writing the songs on a keyboard, and it changed when I got and I had written a lot of
how the Steinway sounds.
Because the piano singing on top of a Rhodes and singing on top of and singing and recording with the piano were like it's not the same thing, And so and the writing had changed to the point I was writing songs that were beyond my ability to produce on my own.
And you knew it.
I came to that, I had to admit that, these songs, it was like, dude, these songs are bigger than you. These songs require something else, they were beyond my skill set to produce on my own.
So you needed somebody else
to take over. Why Would You Stay? My first Grammy nomination. Why Would You Stay? I had tried to record it and I was never going to use it. It was never going to see the light of day, ever, ever. Right? It was on a shelf. And I called Rex in to help me work on the album. And he heard it and he said, if you let me, let me take this back to, he's on the West Coast. Let me take it back to Los Angeles. If I can work this out, he's like, would you be willing to revisit? I'm like, yeah, if you can make it.
And you like, yeah, okay.
I'm like, okay. And I went out to LA and we were recording. When I heard what he was doing to it, I cried. Yeah, it makes me want to cry now. Look, I cried when I heard what he did to it because I was done with it. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with it. If I can't make it the way that I need, can't make it lay down, that's my thing. I couldn't get it to lay down, and he came in and he saved that record. It's my first.
So basically, just like July 23rd, 91, you had to surrender.
Yeah, to let go. Yeah.
And then that to me, that's the beauty of trusting somebody else with your baby, if you will, who go, let me do what I do.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to carry it all the way by yourself. There are certain times, there are seasons of your life when you are going to be by yourself and it requires you and you alone. And there are seasons of your life when somebody's going to help, to take what you've created and take it further.
No, I can tell how you look right now. What he did with that song.
Yeah.
And that experience, now you understand, I can do this, but I can reach out to somebody else.
Right.
And that has made you a better writer, singer.
Yeah.
Because you could trust somebody.
Right. Yeah. And now I can do it.
Right.
And then the flip side is 2012, I'm recording the Christmas CD, or 2013. And so Rex is supposed to come to Philadelphia to produce Jesus, which is a song on the deluxe version of the Christmas album.
I got the deluxe version too.
That has Patti LaBelle. Patti LaBelle and Ron Isley on the album, right? So Rex was supposed to come to Philadelphia so I could record Patti, because me recording was like, I didn't have any experience recording. I could record me, I could record my background vocals. It's like, dude, this, Patti LaBelle's an icon. He had the experience from working with Mary J. Blige and working with me and working with all these people. So he was supposed to come to Philadelphia to help me produce Patti's vocal. The label wouldn't let him come. That's a whole nother story that we're not gonna go there. But the label wouldn't let him come. But dig. Because this was something that I wanted to do. Label wanted to put, we need to put the record out. So you stay here and and I ended up producing Patti's vocal. Me, I'm in the,
and were you like,
which is really nothing, right? How do you don't have to produce a Patti vocal.
And were you sitting there going,
I was trying to make sure that I got everything that I needed. I had Patti, I had the audacity to have Patti come back. She came back a second day. She was very gracious. You know, I'm like, because I didn't know if I had everything that I needed, and she came.
Like, hey, Pat, I'm gonna need you to.
And she came back the next day and brought me food, fed me. Look, sweet potato pie, potato salad, fried chicken. You know, so there are times. So it's identifying the places where you have to do it yourself.
Yep.
There are places where God's going to ask you, you got to do this yourself. Nobody else is going to. There are places where he's like, you can't do this by yourself. You need somebody to come in and help you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I talked enough. You're going to let me go?
I'm about to.
I'm in prison.
About to sit.
Can I get out of here?
I was about to literally wrap that thing. I was like,
I gotta pee.
I was like, finish that thought. I was like, finish that thought. And I was about to say, Kim, congratulations on the book.
Right, I'm sitting here like, dude, can I go pee?
Hey, you were producing Patty and the chicken and the potato salad and the pie. And hell, I'm hungry as hell. I'm hungry as hell. You sitting here.
My man.
Man, congratulations on the book. Always a
you.
pleasure.
Likewise.
Thanks for kicking it with me.
This has been fun. My man. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah.